Utilitarianism fixes almost everything. Prevention, prevention, and more prevention. So utilitarianism fixes almost everything that has to do with our environment, has to do with our bodies, has to do with politics, economics. It just doesn't fix anything spiritual, anything that we don't see, because that's all part of however that all works, our soul or whatever, our spirit. So if we can use this word as our guide to what we should be doing opposed to what we are doing, that is better. Everybody wants something better. Well, this is better. It fixes all this insanity. And you know what it fixes all this insanity with? Sanity. You want to fix the insanity? Fix it with sanity. There. Insanity gets canceled out. You still deal with it, but you're not dealing with it at the level that we're dealing with it at right now. Politically, you guys, it's insane right now. Our money is just being thrown into the wind. You know, like, I was never really into politics, and I don't go to any rallies, and I don't have any big fans, to me, it's just all one big brainwash of mismatch of whoever decided this and whoever decided that. Most of the time, not even really having a philosophy on why they decided that. I'm back to this. I read an article, 73% of politicians have no philosophy on why they do stuff. What they're spending their money on, what this. This is a philosophy that brings things back to a level that is heading in the direction of what we should be doing. Science, technology, innovation, rational, reasonable, sensible, careful decision making. Like, that's what we should be doing instead of, oh, well, we got to this and we got to that. And they got so much corruption in our system that it's just hard to wade through any of this. So with this, we can start making choices. And first of all, for example, greatest good for greatest number should be the purpose of human conduct. We now can determine how many geese we should have on our flyway. I don't know if anybody's noticed in the last 10 or 15 years, but because we have so much products that we're growing, that has increased our availability of food for our geese populations. So they are just fat and producing much. It's out of control. If we, let's say, had 5 million on the flyway historically, you know, some 2 million, some 7 million, you know, a couple of years or this or that, it raised because of, you know, different things historically. This is before man. This is before cultivation. We had, Mother Nature took care of that number. So now we have all this food supply. Most of these geese up here in Alberta, they don't even fly south because it's just so easy to sit out in the fields and eat the grains and the corns and all the different nutrition that's out there, that's available to them. They don't even have to fly south. So if, let's say, we're at 40 million geese, when we should be at 3 to 7 million geese, that means that something is being taken away from our environment by this massive overpopulation of geese. Up in the north, where the snow geese fly to, they peck away at the tundra. That's what they chew at. Well, if there's 20 million more snow geese up there, or 10 million more snow geese up there that should be, opposed to the 3 million that go there every year, they are wreaking massive havoc on our tundra and other nutrients that we have up there. Muskeg, I'm not even sure. I'm not a goose scientist, so I don't know what they eat up there, but I have read articles and heard stuff that this overpopulation is decimating. So once they eat the tundra, it turns into mud, and then it can never ever reproduce itself. And that's how they feed their young. So this goose population is a perfect example of something that's more or less than this perfect range that Mother Nature has. Well, the only way that that's going to be taken care of, well, there's two ways. Mother Nature will bring in disease and pestilence, and all of a sudden you'll have the avian flu and it wipes out 15 million geese. Well, wouldn't it be cool to be able to go in and say, listen, we got to bring our goose population down, but we're going to do something with these geese. We're going to take it down. We're going to do it in November. Well, first of all, we're not going to take out the ones that are flying south, because that's a natural occurring event. The ones that stay are the ones that are unnaturals. Well, we'll wipe them right out. Middle of November, maximum down. Feathers, we'll strip the feathers. We'll take the goose breasts and we'll do something with that in some sort of restaurant style, the Canada Goose. And then the rest of it we can just grind up into pet food, poultry, pet food. Mix it with this, mix it with that, mix it with this. All of a sudden we got pet food. So we're utilizing that resource. We're not just killing it and letting it go to waste. We're dealing with it, and then we're utilizing all the materials that we can. And this is something that has to be done. Like it's middle of September right now. So middle of November, we have to be ready. We have to know where we're going to do this this manufacturing and dealing with this goose. Because if we're going to have to, let's say, get rid of 10 million geese, how are we going to do that? Well, we can start preparing. There's a turkey plant out by Tabor. We could utilize something like that, or we could shut down a poultry plant, or do this and then just do this for a month and process. Or we can build a bunch of semi-trailers that are all equipped with stainless steel materials so that we can actually drive out and we can process all this stuff and get it into the freezer trucks. However we do it, whatever we do, this needs to happen. We need to bring down the population of the Canada goose. It is completely out of control. This is a perfect example of going and doing something for the good of the environment. Those geese are causing major havoc in our waterways, everywhere. What's happening is, and this is back in the days of old, if you had one goose in your pond, you could not drink the water from that pond because it has cryptosporidium or something it causes. It's like beaver fever. So you can get sick from that pond. Like, this is back when you could drink from ponds. Well, the same thing applies when you have massive amounts of geese that are flying to the fields, eating their full, flying back to the lakes or the rivers, and then creating effluent, which is causing major havoc on our waterways. I mean, our towns and cities are already polluting our rivers. We should take some of the pressure of what we do to these rivers off of also what these geese are doing to our rivers and our waterways and our lakes and our streams. This is a good thing. This is a good thing. We need to start doing good things, because when we do that, things are getting better. And I saw a guy on a hat yesterday at the gas station. Getting better. Getting better. It says on the back of the hat right here, getting better. Getting better, like improvements, betterment. What happens if this geese population, if we don't check the goose population, and all of a sudden we have 40, 50, 60 million geese? We have the avian flu out there. Like, this is a good way to create a pathogen that could be actually harmful to humans. But if we can catch that before Mother Nature does her job, we could utilize that resource and not have to go through this avian flu or some sort of type of avian flu. I mean, we also have the seagulls. They're going to the dumps every day. They fly to the dumps, and then they fly back to the river. And the geese and the seagulls are there. I don't know why we have seagulls here. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Why we're in Alberta? Why do we have seagulls? Whatever happened, however that happened historically, I'm not saying we should wipe the population right out, but we should reduce the population of birds on our flyway, and that will decrease the chances of Mother Nature coming in and doing her job. We can get it done before she gets it done and reap the benefits of it. Again, environmental utilitarianism. And it has that to do with all species and plants and trees and flora and fauna. Look at Banff. We have too many trees in Banff. It burned 135 years ago. We're 75 years overdue for a major fire. That is going to be a cataclysmic event when it hits. Crazy. Why? Couldn't they have done maintenance? No, because the environmentalists wouldn't let anybody do that. Wouldn't let Parks Canada go in and brush and weed and thin and space and deadwood. Again, environmentalists. That's a tough shift. You know, you have politicians and policymakers. Then you have corporations. Then you have your environmentalists. And there's other factions out there that have something to do with us going in and doing our due diligence to our forests to make them the healthiest they can be. So we have too many trees in Banff. Okay, well, let's get somebody to figure out which trees we have to reduce, where we have to reduce them, and where we're going to create this reintroduction of fire into a fire-dependent ecosystem. Sorry. I'll phone him back, Stephen. Right now, nothing is more important than this. I'm talking about Banff, our last crown jewel. They got Waterton. They got Jasper. Banff is next. They've already tried to burn it down twice. I was there on one of those occasions. I watched it. If that fire would have gone through the skinny on Norquay and the downdraft would have pushed the fire across the highway, we would already have lost Banff. And that was a purposeful, prescribed burn, they call it. So they lit this fire. And I was there. I had a selfie stick. My cowboy hat kept blowing off. You could see in the background it was just blue sky. So there was no rescue in case something ever happened. There wasn't like, 2-4 inches of snow coming in 3 days. So no matter how bad it burns, we know that there's a cold front coming in to put it out. Like, that's using Mother Nature to help us do what we should be doing in our forests. Lighten everything up. Brushing and weeding, controlling those fuels. And then in 3 days, we have a weather event that comes in, and wherever we are, what we burned is burned. And it's stopped. And we can continue another time when we can plan. That way we have backup. Look at how much work we could go in if we hammered it and then in 3 days had a weather event. There, we all go home, done. Fire's out. That's planning. That's organizing. That's using innovation and reason and intelligence and sensibility and rational thinking. All that stuff is being used. And then the biggest is action. We need to go in and do the action. And back to this, there's a tremendous harvest that needs to happen. Even in Waterton, some of those trees were just scored. They need to be removed so that your second growth has more light and more nutrients to come in. Well, those scored trees can be milled back down and we can build stuff. Right now we have a housing crunch of over 1 million houses. Done. There's the wood right there. Small family farming. House, barn, shop, pond, shed, shelters, corrals, fencing, everything is mostly wood. So I just got a picture of a structure where it was like a barn, an old barn style, but everything was all timber framed. When you have so much wood, like the thinning of Banff National Park, you can build all these buildings into supreme structures that may last 500 years. A small family farm that lives 500 years. It's an amazing, amazing idea, and it's sitting us right in front of us. But politically, we're not moving forward. Right now, they're clear-cut logging Banff National Park right now, and this winter, they are clear-cut logging at a voracious rate. Well, we all know clear-cut logging should have been eliminated 60 years ago. But the corporations have said to the government, listen, you get this 5% royalty, so that's a good thing off the wood that we sell. So if you let us go in and have free run of whatever we want, that part of the park will not burn because it's been clear-cut logged. There's no more fuel. It's wrong. Why would we let them do that? Plus, when they bring this wood out and they fab it up, they do make dimensional lumber, and then they sell it abroad, it's all by the board foot. So if the board foot price is low, nobody's making any money. I've seen Spray Lakes a couple years where they made no money. It was a windfall of trees and a windfall of dimensional lumber that it ended up being, but the price was so low they didn't make any money. Well, that's incredible. In value-added business, you always make big money. Eliminate the corporations and the corporate stranglehold that this country has right now, and bring it back to small to medium-sized businesses, and we're all rich. So, let's do it. Let's do it, Canada. You know, I live in Alberta, so right now Daniel Smith is trying to break up our country. And many of the articles that I watch are how much transfer payments are going to these different provinces, like Nova Scotia. I think it was 16 billion gross to run the province, and then we chip in $4 billion on top to pay for some of that 16 billion. And they go, without Alberta, we would never make it. We would never make it. It's what the finance minister in Nova Scotia said. We wouldn't make it without their $4 billion transfer payments. So we have been propping this country up for a long, long time. I'm a Canadian first, and I'm an Alberta second. My country, we all went to war. Our whole country did. We gave up all those souls in those wars. Our whole country did. Our freedom is based on what we did in those wars right now. We have right now what we worked for back in World War I and World War II. as a country. Canadians. Not Albertans, Canadians. The Canadians went to Dieppe. The Canadians did this. The Canadians did that. They're not saying, oh yeah, well the Albertans did this, or no, it was the Canadians. So I'm a patriot Canadian. I think that, and I don't mean to cause controversy, but I think that Danielle Smith is on the verge of committing treason. She wants to take care of Alberta first and then take care of Canada. We're going to break Canada up. It will not survive us separating. So I'm 100% against the separation of Alberta from Canada. Period. I'm a patriot. Let's get this thing fixed in Ottawa. Let's get this thing fixed provincially. You know, you look at your health care. Well, back in 1984, the provinces got together with the federal government. Our founding fathers said that the health care system has to be delivered through Ottawa to the rest of the country. And in 1984, the provinces said, listen, we'll chip in 50% of what it costs for health care, but we want to deliver it ourselves. So instantly, there's 13 new administrations in Canada. There's an incredible amount of bureaucracy because our federal system is not holding fast to our founding fathers' concept of the Canadian government delivering health care across the board. We have this pandemic, which was absolutely insane. So in one place you have these rules, and another place you have these rules. Like, it was just insane. We shouldn't have to go through that. Wouldn't it be nice to find out the truth behind some of this stuff before it even happens, so that we can eliminate it, so we don't have to go through it? Anyways, just a bunch of nattering, but it's not really nattering. It's about you. It's about where your money is going. It's about who's taking your money and what they're doing with it. Yeah, sure, maybe I sound like a politician. I'm not that eloquent to be one. But on the same note, you know, with this guide that I have that changes everything. Now we know what to do. The Goose, let me run that show. I'll make sure that it gets done. It's a big project, but often I feel like I should be somewhere else doing something else, and that project could be just delegated to the people that are interested in getting that done, including the hunters and the outdoors people. And the goose breast, well, if we have an invasive species restaurant, let's say we'll call it, I'd like to be a little more not so rough to call it that, but invasive species restaurant where wild boar, we serve wild boar, we serve python, we serve lionfish, we serve Canada goose, like different species that are being invasive. And in the Great Lakes, they have some invasive species that need to be eliminated to protect the natural species in some of those lakes. There's that flying carp, and all they have there is an electric thing that stops the carp from going past that to go into Lake Superior. If they ever research it, I forget the name, but it's a carp, and it jumps out of the water, and it's on the mouth of the Michigan River, I think. It goes into Lake Superior. But if that carp, which is an invasive species, gets past that boundary and into the lake, they're saying we've lost the lake. So let's work on stuff like that. Maybe the carp could be used for something. It's totally out of control. I watched some of these carp literally just jumping into the boat. Well, if we have a lot and we don't need any, then maybe that's, again, another resource that could be turned into something. whether it be pet food or whether it be this or whether it be that or something that, some sort of food that we can create for livestock, who knows? But getting those fish and reducing the threat to Lake Superior is a priority. Just another greatest good for greatest number. You have too much of something, then knock it down. If you have not enough of something, then prop it up. Get those numbers back. That's how we help Mother Nature bring back the range that she historically operated at pre-human activity. Thank you very much. Cheers.